Yeah, something's up with the video. I got a new laptop today. Don't know what's going on.
Okay, Mayor, it's 6:30.
Thank you. I call this meeting to order for March 23rd, 2021. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Richard Boss.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nadia Sykes.
Here.
Commissioner Sharon McDonald.
Here.
Commissioner Josh Warden.
Here.
It's doing something. Hang on. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to start the roll over because the roll call over because we're not sure what happened here. Okay, Mayor Richard Boss.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nadia Sykes.
Here.
Commissioner Sharon McDonald.
Here.
Commissioner Josh Warden.
Here.
Commissioner Susan Payne.
Here.
Commissioner Dusty Wright.
Here.
Commissioner Jason Baldwin.
Present.
City Manager Brian Caesar.
Here.
City Attorney Patria Bengoshe.
Here.
The Deputy Clerk is present. And Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Teresa. If everyone
Okay.
was
He's
to
muted.
pay.
There he goes.
Lord, we thank you for your grace and mercy and how you have spared our community from so many devastating calamities. We thank you for our health, our strength, and protection with determination to move forward in our city, state, and nation. Thank you for the direction that you've given us is clear, and we know which direction to go. And bless our nation, our people, and guide us through this difficult time so we can be better. May the Lord watch over us all. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, lady. We'll move on to approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Second.
Where was the second? Mr. Redden? I'm sorry, which one? Just, okay, that's right. I have the motion is approved. I have a motion from Mr. Baldwin, seconded by Mr. Wright. All those in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The agenda has been approved. Motion passes 7-0. We'll move on to presentations. We have one presentation tonight. That presentation by Jennifer Tonkley for help to proceed in efforts to locate and fix the water leak. And I presume Ms. Tonkley is here tonight.
Yes, my name's Jennifer Toncray, and I'm here to do a presentation. I have 3 questions before I start the presentation, and the first one is the salary or pay of Mark Threadgill. So I would like to see if I can get an answer to that.
Ma'am, in a presentation, it's not really a question and answer in reference to stuff like that. If you have questions like that, just direct them to the city clerk via a public records request and or the city manager, one of the two.
Okay, because actually the questions pertain to my presentation, and it would be helpful if I knew if he received bonuses for increasing revenue intake.
Commission, you just make a presentation to us, if you would, please.
Okay, and then the last question that I have before I start the presentation is I wanted to know if the employees of the city are drug tested, and the managers and the employees if they're drug tested. So, and you think I can get those answers from the city hall or the personnel employee
Yes.
department?
You just have to do a public records request and you can probably get at least some of those answers.
Okay. Well, thank you for the commission for letting me come to the meeting. And I
Just
wanted
understand
to
some of that is a personnel matter and you may not get all of your answers. So, and I'm sure you can understand that if you were in that position. So.
Okay. Well, the history is that my father had water with the city for more than 60 years and my grandfather before that. And I've had city water for 20 years. The customer service that I've received from Armando was good and helpful. And I found the contrast between him and Mark very troubling. I don't know the details of why Armando's not with the city anymore, but only from what I heard from the community and through the newspaper. And it seemed to me that he was only trying to help people, although he might have gone about it in a abnormal or not described proper manner. But I found Mark to be very I found him to be very he had a sense of bullying me, and he was unhelpful at times and very aggressive in some of the ways he went about doing his job. He was vengeful, and there was dishonest things that he did, and he tried to. I feel that he tried to harm me more than help me.
Ms. Tancre, I don't mean to interrupt, but do you have a presentation or do you have something that you'd like to share with us about your water service?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm talking about the dirty tricks that were pulled on me by Mark. He purposely ran up my water bill initially when the leak began, and he even told me he did that for a reason of because people would not pay their bills. So that put a hardship on me from the very beginning, trying to get this water situation squared around. And I am disabled, and that was not helpful from what he did to run the water bill up on me. Then I found out about found out about another account that was opened, and monies that were supposed to be applied to paying down the account that I have to get squared around to be able to get my water back on. Monies were going into that account. And the first time I knew about it was on March 4th of 2021. So those monies were misappropriated going to that other account. And I had asked him on several occasions prior to that time to see if I could get the water back on so I could find the leak to identify and start working on getting the leak fixed. Brian Caesar and I had talked, and we had an agreement of what was going to be happening. And when Brian had his procedure or surgery or was gone, then Mark decided that he would lock my water on me. So he blocked my water, and I didn't have water. One of my animals was without water and died. So I've continuously paid on this water bill for continuously from just like I've always paid my water bills every month. And at this point, when I attempted to try to find out how much I owed, because I had another plumber, the first plumber was canceled in September because when he got here to try to find the leak, the water was locked and he couldn't do anything with it. And then I started on March 1st of this year, I started trying to find out exactly what the status of my account was. And then, well, prior to that, I had tried to find out the status and it was wrong. I knew the numbers were wrong. And then now the numbers are still wrong because of that, the money's going into that other account. So at this point, I think that about close to $400 should be going back into my original account to help me get that cleared up so I can get the water back on. So the second plumber had to be canceled as well. So that's twice now that I've had plumbers lined up and over here trying to get this water leak identified so I can fix it. And I haven't been able to do that because I can't get the water back on. My yard line is over 2 football field lengths away from my house. And there were no other dirty tricks pulled on me that caused distress and problems with this, including Mark accusing me of parking my car over the meter, causing it to not read properly or whatever. But like I said, I'm disabled and I'm not parking my car 2 football lengths away from my house over the water meter. So my goal is the goals ever since I first started looking at my options. I was told that it would cost me almost $1,700 if I tried to disconnect, plus almost $2,000 in water. So I chose to go ahead and try to find the water leak and continue. But now that this other account is created, what I would like to have done is I would like to see if that second account can be discharged. There was no reason for my initial account to be closed because it was being paid on. And I would like to have that other account closed and those monies put to my initial account, and then any services that I'm being charged for, which I don't have any services at this point. I have no water. I never have had sewage or trash with the city. The only thing I've had is water, so I didn't feel like I should be paying anything since I don't have any water. If you guys would like to look at my paperwork that I presented in the packet, there's the graph that shows the initial problem with, that's from the city. And that one is, it's called Zinner. And it's a graph and it shows this in a large peak on December 30th. And that's when I first found out about the problem of the possible leak. At that point, Diana didn't know what it was, and she told me to, not that I that I wouldn't know about anything for a couple of days. So that was on the Wednesday or the Tuesday, and on the Friday, I expected to be notified. I was never notified for over 3 weeks later, and
Ms.
that's
Ms. Conkey, hi. It's been 10 minutes. Your presentation is up. It's been 10 minutes, ma'am.
okay. I just have a couple I just have the rest of the forms to go through. So then I have 2 estimates.
10 minutes. Ms. Conkey, it's
Okay.
been 10 minutes. So you were given 10 minutes, so the presentation is over.
Okay, well, can I please just do the forms? So explain the forms.
We have copies of the forms, Grant.
The forms were in the packet that you provided to the city clerk's office, so all the commission is able to see them and review them.
We'll be able to do that and do any necessary conversations with management, and I'm sure they will be back to you at some point. Thank you.
Okay, so who will, excuse me, sir, who will be getting back with me about this? Because, you know, this isn't just a tiny job that I'm looking at. This is a very expensive job, and, you know, it's going to take all my monies just trying to get this job done. And so I would like to know, you know, who's going to be getting back with me about this, and when can I expect for someone to get back with me on it?
I'm presuming it will be the city manager, Brian Caesar. Am I correct, Brian?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for letting me present tonight.
Ms. Tonker, this is Stephanie Hernandez. I will contact you tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Presentation. Have a good evening.
Okay.
We'll move on to public comment. Do we have any public comments this evening? Okay.
No, there's no public comments tonight.
Management report, Brian Caesar, our city manager. Brian, do you have a report for us?
Yes, I have a number of items tonight. First, a number of the commissioners, city staff virtually attended a promotion ceremony last week for Officer Ray Brown, who was promoted to sergeant. So congratulations to him. From those of us that weren't able to attend that promotion ceremony. Last week, we finished the second interviews for fire chief. You'll remember Jim LeClaire retires at the end of April. Selected Richard Adler, comes most recently from Holloman Air Force Base. He will be starting with the city on April 5th, so that there is a period of overlap between him and Chief LeClaire. We'll have him on the next meeting, which is on the 13th. I think there's been a little bit of confusion. I sent out to the commission, I want to say it was Friday of last week, in this year's budget. Normally we pay for the fireworks display out of Fund 20, which is funded more than partially by lodger's tax. That was one of the items when we had to make all the various cuts for this fiscal year that was cut out of the budget. Recently, I believe it was Thursday of last week, I spoke with Mr. Powell from the group at the Space Hall. We won't be able to fund the fireworks out of Fund 20. I'm going to be pulling that out of a different fund. So the fireworks for this fiscal year are funded. For next fiscal year, Fund 20 is not going to be in a position to fund fireworks for next year. So I will take the monies for the fire with your approval when you approve the budget will come out of a different fund and not out of Fund 20. Hopefully after next fiscal year, it can be put back into the proper fund. In addition to that, um, found that we don't have an agreement, a contract, anything with the Space Hall, with the group up there, and haven't since probably the early 2000s. So we'll be meeting, staff will be meeting with him and the group and getting an agreement put together. Next, and this really, well, unless others are interested, this is just a reminder for Commissioner Reardon, Commissioner McDonald, and Commissioner Payne. Earlier today, a Zoom invite and an agenda packet and the proxy forms went out. Our annual Solid Waste Authority meeting is this Thursday at 2 o'clock. For those of you that can't attend, have a conflict, if you would, just fill out the proxy form and email it through. And last but not least, I did send this out to the commission. And I've talked to some different organizations between the time we received the letter. I don't believe I've done it at a commission meeting yet. So we do have the final decision from the PRC for the scenic extension. It has been approved, so engineering is moving forward to get the plans finalized, and legal and engineering are working together to get the rest of the documents signed for the right of way. So hopefully in the very near future, this project will actually be bid and out on the street. That is all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Brian. We'll move on to remarks and inquiries by the city commission. Do any commissioners have any comments they'd like to make or inquiries?
I've got one. This one's kind of for Brian, I think. I don't know if we'll be able to do anything on it or not, but down there at Indian Wells and White Sands Boulevard, where the states started their work there in that intersection, I think I've witnessed or seen 3 or 4 accidents already at this point, and we've only been going on for about like 2 weeks. I didn't know if there's any way we could reach out to them and see if they could maybe redevelop their traffic plan a little bit, because the way they're doing that down there, it's a mess.
We
Yeah.
have, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's, you know what I mean? I don't know if we can reach out, if it'll do any good for us to because that's a year-long project and we're literally 2 weeks into it, and I've literally seen 4 accidents, and that's just the ones I've seen since it started already. So I just didn't know anything we can do.
Have already reached out to them with the concerns. There have been some issues with sign placement. The congestion at White Sands and Indian Wells, that has been communicated to DOT. They are looking at it. They have made some modifications on sign placement for blocking intersections as they start. If you're coming from the south or if you're headed north on White Sands, they start the construction notification about 9th Street or so. So where they place some of these signs, they were blocking line of sight for people trying to get out on the White Sands from 9th Street from some of the other streets. They've since adjusted those. They're looking at the traffic control plan that actually was dictated by NMDOT to see what, if anything, could be modified. What's going to be difficult for them because of the way that it was bid and the traffic control plan that was placed in the plans. There's a lot of the medians have already been removed, so that's going to make it a little more difficult to change traffic patterns without them having the contractor go in and either fill some of those median areas or do some temporary pavement or something where they can divert traffic differently. But they did say they would be looking at it.
Okay, yeah, it just, like I say, a year-long project, and it's a mess. And then, you'll sit there for 4 different light cycles to try to get through that at certain times of the day, around lunchtime or in the evenings when people are getting off. There's to go southbound if you're heading south. I've sat in it, 3 and 4 and 5 light cycles to get through the intersection. So I just didn't know if there's any way we could help, ask to see if we could improve the traffic flow a little bit. That's all I had.
Any other comments by any commissioners? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Would any staff member or commissioner like to pull any item off of the consent agenda? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Payne to accept the consent agenda. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Commissioner Wright. Am I correct? Or was it written first?
That's fine.
Commissioner Wright, will the clerk please call the roll?
Jason Baldwin,
Aye.
Nadia, can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay,
Aye.
Nadia Sykes,
Oh, we can.
Josh Warden,
Aye.
Sharon McDonald,
Aye.
Jesse Wright.
Aye.
Susan Payne,
Aye.
Richard Voss.
Aye, motion passes 7-0. Move on to new business. We have appointments to boards and committees, and I think we have one appointment to make, but I'm going to go through all the openings that we have, the vacancies we have in all of the committees and boards. The Airport Zoning Board has one vacancy. There were no applications received. The Housing Authority Advisory Board has one vacancy. There were no applications received. Mayor's Committee on Aging, there's one vacancy. This vacancy is due to the expiring term of Barbara Jo Teres. Following and Barbara is interested in being reappointed to this position for a third term. And with the consent of the commission, I intend to do just that. And I'm appointing her as of now, if I have your agreement. Barbara is so appointed. I want to thank Barbara for her past second two terms that she was involved in with that committee, and especially the mayor's committee on aging. I want to really thank her for the work that she's done there. Look forward to her in the third term. Move on to Parks and Recreation Board. There's one vacancy. The vacancy is due to the expiring term. Rita, how do you say that? M-O-Y-R-A, Mora. No, Roebuck, but there's no applications received on that one. So we have one vacancy on Parks and Recreation Board. Senior Volunteer Programs Advisory Council, there are 3 vacancies. These vacancies are due to the expiring terms of Paul Farr, Stephen Butler, and Marina Bay Morales. No applications were received on the Senior Volunteer Programs Advisory Council. So there are some openings on that council. If anyone is interested in serving on a board or committee, you can apply to the city clerk's office or online at the city's website. If there's no further business for the good of the city, do I hear a motion to adjourn into executive session in compliance with 15-1878 NMSA as amended to discuss threatened or pending litigation, that being Western Banking Corporation, LIDA, and to discuss real property, 7th and Alaska.
So
So
moved.
moved.
I have a motion. Commissioner Payne, a motion from Commissioner Payne to adjourn into executive session. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Mayor Pro Tem Sykes. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
It's a roll call vote.
Oh, it's a roll call. Yeah.
Roll call vote. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Jason Baldwin,
Aye.
Nadia Sykes,
Aye.
Josh Warden,
Aye.
Sharon McDonald,
Aye.
Jesse Wright.
Aye.
Susan Payne,
Aye.
Richard Voss.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0. We are adjourned into executive session.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and the live streaming, and after I do that, I'm going to hand the meeting over to Patria. Everybody who's here is supposed to be here, correct? In the executive session?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.